This could be the greatest finish of any PUBG Mobile game in my entire career. Let's just go flying through the air in power armor mode with a red dot on AWM and headshot some dude for the chicken dinner. I love this game mode. Uppercut, uppercut, sonic boom. Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Today's video is sponsored by PUBG Mobile, and it is absolutely crackerjack full of power armor mode highlights and secrets, tips and tricks, and everything you need to know to absolutely go out and wallop people in this arcade bonanza. Now, there are three pieces of power armor. You've got legs, chest, and arms, and they all have different uses. The legs, for me, are probably the most important because they give you that huge mobility boost, being able to jump around and fly for limited amounts of time, but they all have their own place within the game. I'm going to break down right from the start the very basics of the gameplay here, and then we're going to move forward and go through to the more advanced tactics. Now, when you first kick off, when you have a look at the map, there are these orange triangles, which we're flying over right now, which are research points where you can research the power armor itself and call in your teammates. And then there are these yellow circles, and they are matrix events, which are in proved regional supply output areas. And I've got to tell you, they are very, very busy, and lots of people drop there because there's massive amounts of loot. And then you combine that with the fact that everyone has the ability to automatically respawn twice after dying, and you get these gunfights that go on forever against the same squads dropping in. And when you drop back in, you drop with minimal gear, like an M16 and a X1014 shotgun and level 1 gear, but you still have the ability to reclaim your gear. It's left there on the ground. So you will see a lot of people dropping here. There's also these crates. These crates contain flare guns, and they are scenes of absolute carnage and terror. Look at the boxes. Boxes freaking everywhere. And in those circles, you will find more nanocrystals and more blueprints, which you need to build power armor. These research centers with the little circles and the constant lines going through them, the spirals, they are where you can actually activate a receiver signal that's like a radar. You'll see here, I'm going to click this and enable it, and then around me you can see the dots on the map. I then immediately know that there is someone there because if you look at the mini map in the top right corner, there is a dot signifying that there is an enemy in that direction. This is really, really strong, and a lot of people don't realize this, and you have to activate it. Likewise, there is an animation. Once you get the power arms, you can smash this glass-covered case, and it will drop all kinds of high-end loot. A lot of people don't know about that. When you knock someone, if they've got power loot and you kill them, there is a thin blue light coming up from the middle of their crate. All these things are super important because if you're going to play this against people that are playing a lot of games and squads that are playing a lot of games, and a lot of people are, they will understand this stuff and they will utilize their power armor. Now, I really want to get through all the simple stuff because then we can talk about the tactics, which are absolutely insane. Now, the bottom right of the screen, you can see that I have a flamethrower icon. That's the Dragon's Breath. It's a wonderful area of effect flamethrower that is free to use. It's on a timer, but the key here is you're going to have a lot of these resource draining engagements. You'll run out of meds, and you'll especially run out of ammo. And if you get respawned in, you're going to get respawned with like UMPs or M16s. This allows you to clear knocks without having to use any ammunition or reload, which in multiple target environments is really valuable and something you should not overlook. The other thing I want to talk about is flying. You can only do this once you buy yourself, using your nanocrystals and your blueprints, once you buy yourself your legs. To fly, you tap once on the jump button, then twice to take off, and then you press the jump button again to stop. This means that you can actually really guide the flight quite subtly. You can see I'm jumping from point to point here very comfortably, and it's also something to note that you can use anything in flight that you can use when you're running around. Molotov, smokes, aim down sights and use your AWM like you saw in the intro. It doesn't matter. You can certainly be killed while you're flying, and that's a thing. Now, if you open your backpack, you can see that there is a power armor section to your inventory. That will show you can hide the armor. You can choose to hide the armor so no one can see you're wearing it, even though you've got it on. And if you click on the armor itself, there is an information button there. It will tell you all about what each item of armor does. Now, all the armor items give damage reduction to that particular body part, like the chest, the legs, or the arms. And you only get the Dragon's Breath when you assemble the full power armor kit. Now let's move on and talk a little bit about some of the really cool things you can do. A lot of people fall in love with holding an angle, and you can see in all these clips, I am absolutely using that against them. People have this whole, it worked for me in classics, it'll work for me here idea going on, and it just isn't the case. In 25 seconds, I've gone 250 meters one way and then the other and cleared 2 targets and no one knew it was coming. You can leap across roads. You can completely change angles. If people are static, that is such a bad idea. You have to be very, very mobile in this gameplay mode because everyone else will be mobile. And you can also combine power armor flying with the vault. So you can't quite get there, but if you spam the vault button, you can climb over the top of the railing. This is particularly useful when you're pushing into people who are in buildings or, you know, it just allows you to climb in through windows, even when you're falling down the edge of a building. A lot of times when the game is progressing through these stages, if your squad is getting wiped and you keep coming back, people will try and come back to collect their gear. And that's a big mistake because the squad that you're coming in on, if they've got full power armor, Grazes, AWMs, whatever, they are very, very likely to wipe you. It is hard to come back. You're much better off trying to drop a little bit away from the action and then work your way back into it, whether by looting, getting some extra vests, just doing anything. Just before we go any further, there is a live Power Armor event featuring the content creators. It's taking place in the official PUBG mobile channel on February 16th, 5 p.m. PST. If you want to be there, I'll probably be there. Why not come along and check it out? Now, the other part that's crazy is changing angles. You will quite often people just don't expect to see you coming in from these angles. It's not just the flying through the air and jumping through doorways. It's chasing people down. It is someone's knocked, for instance. Have a look at this. This is Sean the Savage. He's going to get knocked, and he's like 150 meters away. Yet I can be there and stop this guy from pushing out and clearing and allow Killam to get the revive because of the power armor. And this means you can have a lot looser formation in your team. You don't have to be right next to each other to be in range of helping. And you can see I don't have an angle to shoot the guys up on the hill there with an AWM. I just power armor up to the roof. And look how far the spread is on this team. And yet McDingling is going to start pushing up there with his own power armor. I'm going to get 2 knocks and we win the game from this position. This is incredibly effective if you play with a lot and that you feel you can rely on. I mean, moving around to clear knocks is so easy now. You can get a lot more done and there is nowhere safe. And it applies both ways. And it's one of the other things I love about this is it really favors aggressive gameplay. It feels a little bit like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon with a Vector. Finally, I want to talk about how good this is for training. You are doing all the things you do in classic matches. A 3x spray with a Scar L. I'm going to find a rock and get to cover like really quickly, and then I'm going to put a molly onto that roof, and then I'm going to fire across the top of the roof line. So if they stand up, they're still going to get knocked by the molly. And it's absolutely brilliant because you get to respawn when you make a mistake. This means that people are more comfortable pushing, and you get lots of situations where you have to clutch out to get amigos up. This is the best game mode, bar none, for just completely outrageous amounts of aggressive combat while still maintaining the feel of a classic match. Like, I have got 30 rounds of UMP and 7 rounds of 7.62 here. And I then go and grab another 30 rounds of UMP, and then I've got 7 rounds of 7.62 left. And I've got to judge that and move it because these kind of combat engagements happen so often. They are the norm in this power armor mode, and they really make you watch your resources and distribute the loot throughout the team. Change weapons. You've got to be good at all different weaponry. If you can run an M16, you're going to be so much better off. Forget about looking for the perfect loadout. You are basically looking for a loadout that is going to allow you to maintain combat readiness. Because if you are mucking around trying to spray, lying down in the grass with a 4X, you're going to get shredded. The other thing is, people will come back for their gear, especially if they had power armor in it. So we kill those guys and then we immediately push over here. And there's all kinds of people going on. There's 3 or 4 squads involved here. This is just the nature of the game. And yet behind us, the guys that we just cleared are going to drop down and start shooting back at us. You've got to be really, really careful here. And you'll see they immediately go to their boxes to try and regain all their stuff. And the guys at the top, he's trying to loot and regain all his stuff. And meanwhile, there's another squad in crabgrass looking to get stuck into us. It's just absolute mayhem. That's really important. Don't forget that, by the way. And you can also tell when someone's been completely cleared because the amount of people alive in the top left corner will actually drop down. And as you progress through the game, you will lose the ability to respawn. Right at the end, I think it might be when you get to the top 10, but it's also just like when you're in the final circle, the lives will drop. You will no longer have the 2 lives and you just have to get the job done. So be very, very careful because that happened to me a couple of times when I first started playing the game that I didn't notice that the 2 lives were gone. And so I was very, very aggressive when I probably didn't need to be. You can see we've just created a pincer. Killam and I have just created a pincer just by flying over the top of this bloke. It's an amazing gameplay mode. It's mobile, it's fast-paced, it's full of aggressive gameplay. It's everything I love about PUBG Mobile. And it's why I've been playing it non-stop for 2 days now. I had, normally in one of these videos, I will have to get to 10 minutes. That's where you go to. I was at 20 minutes cutting because I had so much fun. Like, look at this guy. Here comes a guy just screaming along through the air. Well, I really want to thank you for watching. Remember, this video is sponsored by PUBG Mobile, and I want to thank them for giving me the opportunity to make this video because it really was a wonderful, wonderful gameplay mode to take part in. And this is still easily, I think, the best sniper shot of my PUBG Mobile career. That's saying something because I do a lot of sniping. I'll leave you with that one in slow-mo. I'm Bushka. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for subscribing. And as always, stay safe on the battlefield. Bye for now.